गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
गुड मॉर्निंग असित। मेरे से भी पहले आ गए तुम एकदम।
हाँ सर, होस्ट सेल सर। यस।
ठीक है। और मतलब यू आर टेक्निकल।
हाँ यस सर। हाँ यस यस सर।
टेक्निकल वो तुम देख रहे हो ना।
हाँ यस सर।
वेरी गुड। तो मैं ऐसे करता हूँ, मैं कपल ऑफ फोन कर लेता हूँ जो जो
हाँ सर,
लोग।
ओके सर, ओके ओके सर।
ठीक है ना। और तुम लोग कहाँ बैठ रहे हो यहाँ पे?
सर कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल में।
अच्छा, वहीं से चल रहा है सब। कितने सिस्टम्स वहाँ रखे हुए हो तुम लोग?
परमेश्वरन सर, हो गया
सभी
सब।
लोग वहीं पे हो गया?
कौन सा? हाँ सर।
नहीं मतलब दूसरे सेशंस वाले भी वहीं पे बैठ रहे हैं?
अरे सर, आपका अभी ये चल रहा है पोस्ट स्टेशन वाला। हाँ जी, 10 बजे। एनहांसिंग राइस प्रोडक्टिविटी क्या? हाँ जी। एनहांसिंग राइस प्रोडक्टिविटी और कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल सर। तो करेंगे
ठीक है, ठीक है। ओके।
सस्टेनेबल राइस फार्मिंग सर। 8
जा रहे हैं ना सर, पहले वाला।
आप कर रहे हैं? हाँ सर, सब लोग यहीं पे हैं सर।
ओके ओके, ठीक है, ओके, थैंक यू।
हाँ सर, हाँ।
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dr. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Thank you, sir.
You still in US? Still you
Namaskar Singh Saab.
नमस्कार नमस्कार और क्या हाल है?
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Dr. Dikshit, namaskar.
He is muted somehow.
I think disconnected. He is still in US.
I still, yeah.
Yeah, very happy to see you.
Same here, Chandrasekhar. Very nice to see you.
So you are still there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm still here, sir.
When you are planning to come now?
Sir, we are actually trying to get the kids along with us because there will be a very severe winter. We have applied for their passport. Their parents have applied. Maybe in a week to 10 days, we get their passport, and soon after that, we will try, sir. Hopefully, by this month end or early first week of January, we will be there, sir.
Okay.
So very good to see you, Dr. Chandrasekhar, in that chair. So proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Ravindra Padaria, thank you so much. Nice to see you.
Very good morning, sir. Very good morning, Honorable DDG Extension, Dr. Chandraji, Dr. Srinath Dikshitji, Amar. Welcome.
Namaskar, Namaskar Padaria Saab.
Thank you. So nice to see all the familiar this thing, and under the leadership of our DDG, Dr. Singh. It is so nice once again.
Sir, please accept my wishes. Good morning, AK Singh sir, Dikshit sir, Shekhar sir, and all panels. Thank you.
Yeah, good, Kumar. I think it's a very nice effort. You are always, innovative. Dr. Pal Saab, namaskar. This is
namaskar everyone. Namaskar. डॉक्टर AK सिंह कैसे हैं?
डॉक्टर सुरेश पाल जी.
हमको तो राइस में काम किए बहुत टाइम हो गया, कहाँ से बुला लिया.
So, Dr. Kumar, how to move now? What is the way out?
Padaria will begin, sir. Dr.
Okay. So should we begin now? All those speakers have joined or what? Have you inquired?
Sir, they are all on board, sir. No issue, sir.
All speakers seem to be here, sir.
Sir, shall we start, sir, with your permission?
Surely. Should not lose time.
Very good morning to all, and I welcome Honorable Deputy Director General Extension ICR, Dr. AK Singh sir, as a chairperson for this session on Rice for Livelihood, Security, Equity, and Profitability for the first Rice Congress to be organized by NRI Cuttack. And I also welcome our co-chair, Dr. Srinath Dikshitji, ICRISAT Development Center IDC Asia program, and convener, my co-convener with J.K. Kumar, and the panelists for today's are by the keynote speaker by Dr. Suresh Palji, Director NIP, and Dr. P. Chandrasekhar, DG Manes, Dr. Jiju Alex from Director Extension, Kerala Agriculture University, and Dr. Anjani Kumar from IFRI. I welcome all of you for this important meeting related to livelihood security. Rice is contributing a lot for the livelihood security of the nation, and also bringing about equity in the society and farmers' income profitability into the sense. But before we proceed, I'll just introduce our honorable chairperson for this event, Honorable Deputy Director General sir, and he has been engaged in empowering farmers through different cropping systems, and with the network of 721 Krishi Vigyan Kendras and many of the ICR initiatives, new initiatives for the extension, and not only for the dissemination of the technologies for the rice or any other crop, but also addressing the pulses issues, climate smart agriculture, doubling farmers' income, then nutrient-sensitive agriculture. Besides this, he has been also contributing a lot for the progress of social science research, strengthening the extension research. Great initiative we have taken by having collaboration with the ICRISAT and other agencies, how best the manpower, quality manpower can be engaged for extension. Sir, for your vital contribution. We are honored to have for this session as a chairperson. And also welcome Dr. Srinath Dikshit ji. And being a principal scientist at ICR, he also contributed a lot as a coordinator for the technology dissemination component of the NICRA, an important project of ICR. And with your vitality, the NICRA has come into the third phase now. And most of the technology demonstrations module you created, it is a kind of novel approach for addressing the climate change issues. And now with your expertise, ICRISAT is beginning with your vital experience related to a development center at ICRISAT. So I welcome you as a co-chairperson. And so I request our honorable chairperson to begin with the panelist and the lead speaker with Suresh Palji, and followed by the key speakers like Dr. P. Chandrasekhar ji, who has recently joined as DG Manes, and Jiju Alex and Anjani Kumar ji. I am handing over to Honorable DDG Extension for taking forward the session.
Thank you, Dr. Podaria. Good morning to all of you who have joined today, and very distinguished colleagues. I have got Dr. Srinath Dikshit as the co-chair of this very important session, and Dr. Suresh Pal is the key speaker. Then we have got DG Manes, Dr. Chandrasekhar, then Dr. Anjani Kumar also from IFRI, and Dr. Alex from KU. So very, I can say, in the elite panel, a mix of group, the economists and extensionists are here, and I am happy to be here along with all of you. See, this part of discussion today in this session is going to be very vital, as I see, because the technologies come, but we working in the field in the farmers, with the farmers, we find that many of the technologies which gets generated are not accepted as such by the farmers. And there are the issues which are social issues, there are issues which are agroecologically not suitable across the district, across the regions. So farmers make a lot of modifications. Yesterday itself, I was discussing with ADG Dr. Bhaskar. Since all the familiar faces are here, I am just citing. We have developed a number of farming systems, integrated farming systems. And he was asking that how many of them have been adopted by the farmers. So my answer to him was that exactly the same kind of models have not been adopted. But at the farmers level, you will find hundreds of types of integrated farming system models which are there. Maybe principles, they are deriving from such, you can say, the scientific findings coming from the institutions, but there are certain alterations, certain modifications happening at the farmers. And there are various regions relating to the social acceptance, to the farming conditions, to their own resource base, and also the market and other consumer behaviors, what we have been talking about. So I find a very mix of people are here who have been working with the farmers, working with the policy issues, and I hope that some important findings will be emerging out of this discussion, which may be actually a kind of guiding force to all those who are actually responsible for this one to drive it further. We find, despite number of recommendations, the systems like rice and wheat prevailing in the northern states, Haryana, Punjab, we have not been able to convince the farmers and communicate that it is harming the ecosystem and the kind of changes you have to make it sustainable. Some encouraging results have come up. Other day itself, we had discussion in the regional committee, and some trials on a sprinkler application in rice to save water, about which we have been talking a lot. And somewhere some trials have gone for drip irrigation also. So scientific findings are very, very important. But at the same time, taking all those scientific findings to the farmers' conditions, convincing farmers to adopt those technologies, and also make diversification wherever is required. Rice is one crop, one commodity which is cultivated, I mean to say, across the globe. And I think most liked food item, I may say very rightly, most liked food item, staple food worldwide, which is eaten somewhere when we talk in context of our own country, southern states, right from the breakfast to snacks to all foods, whatever is served, rice is always there. And even in the eastern part, not only right from the eastern UP to Bihar, West Bengal, wherever you will find, you will go that rice is consumed quite huge. There are certain concerns. Now we talk about the quality aspects, we talk about the, the sugar levels getting raised in the human beings, how to produce the kind of rice which can actually control all those things which are happening in the body. So there are many challenges before the scientists, but this group has got bigger challenge because to get all those accepted, the way just it was cited by Dr. Padaria, the kind of climate resilient technologies Dr. Sirnath worked with, and how the farmers were convinced across the country to go with those technologies. So very, very vital that whatever we do in agriculture research, that is also grounded with the support of the farmers with the participatory mode. That is what we have been perceiving, and I hope that all those speakers who are here, and they will guide that how the initiatives have to be taken to ensure the major theme on which we are discussing today, livelihood, security, equity, and profitability. And these three are key areas on which Government of India is debating all across, and we are trying to find out ways and means. So with these few words, I welcome all of you who have joined and also the participants who have joined. And I will request Dr. Sirnath Dikshit to say a few words, and then we can take up the presentations by the key speaker and panelists. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for this very informative and very critical input for the speakers to begin. It's a very important aspect that you brought about. India is one of the chief producers, consumers, exporters of rice, and with a large amount of area falling under those areas where rice is the staple food. So gradually, we are seeing a very, very marked change in the way rice ecosystems are being managed in our country. We are very closely working with the government of Odisha in all the 30 districts since 2018 to improve the productivity of rice, not only the crop of rice and the whole rice ecosystem, by also addressing the rice fallows in the post-rainy season. Odisha is one of the chief rice producers. As you rightly said, that it is in the eastern part where rice is a staple food. And very congenial conditions are there, and the very importance of rice being produced there is justified by the existence of NRRI Cuttack, which is also working very, very closely and given yeoman service for the rice growers. Several varieties have been evolved. So thanks to those varieties, but at some point in time, we have been seeing that we have hit the ceiling and we are not able to make much progress in terms of rice yields. So there are many multiple reasons. One of the reasons that Odisha has been facing of late is multiple deficiency of nutrients and also very high amount of soil acidity we are seeing in most of the rice growing areas. And most rice growing areas, both in the east and west coast, are common in terms of receiving very high rainfall, which is one of the results where we see high content of iron and then leading to acidity, and that limiting the uptake of nutrients and then limiting the rice production itself. Although varieties are capable of producing, there is a genetic potential for these varieties to produce higher quantity of rice. But unfortunately, because of the limitations of the ecosystems under which it is grown, is being of late highlighted. And thanks to the attention of the state policy machinery, as well as the agriculture universities and the development organizations and even institutes like ICRISAT, one might really wonder why ICRISAT is working in the rice ecosystem. So in fact, the area in which we are working, we're not working rice per se, we're working in an ecosystem which is limited by certain issues of resource management, and resource management irrespective of which area it belongs to, whether it is a rice crop, whether it is chickpea, whether it is wheat or whatever. So when it comes to constraints of resource management, ICRISAT has been working very closely in particularly addressing the soil nutrient deficiencies, multiple nutrient deficiencies. So few of the important things that we have come to know in the last 3 seasons, we have been working with the farmers of Odisha in all over the 30 districts, and we have laid out more than 10,000 demonstrations. We have touched nearly 25,000 farmers in the last 2 years, and we have addressed the multiple nutrient deficiencies, particularly zinc, boron, and zinc boron particularly, and of course organic carbon is very, very low. We have found that very simple interventions, which when upscaled, we could register an yield gain of 20 to 60% across different rice ecosystems. So there are some areas where the base yields itself is very low. So there we have been able to even gain up to 60% productivity levels. But there are some decently already, there are certain potentials met, but there also we have seen, but by simple nutrient management, we were able to register very high gains. So the focus on rice fallows is also increasing. Odisha is one of those states where rice fallows is on very high, very large areas of rice fallows are there. Either because of inability of the farmer to make use of the residual moisture, or because of lack of water resources at a later date. Although it receives the annual average rainfall of Odisha is somewhere around 1100 to 1150 millimeters. But even with this, we are not able to grow the second crop. So the attention is going there. And on the World Soil Day, as recently as last Saturday, this was when 2 state-of-the-art soil laboratories in Odisha were upgraded with the assistance of ICRISAT, in collaboration with ICRISAT, and they were dedicated to the state by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Government of Odisha, on 5th December. So, and we have also conducted a study of all district level laboratories, soil laboratories across Odisha. We find that there is a huge potential for the state to address the simple things by upgrading them a little bit, by a little investment. If they can upgrade them, they can address the resources constraints, soil resource constraints, soil limitations across Odisha in a very big way. We have only looked at very limited aspect of how we can address improvement of rice productivity by looking at soil management, soil fertility management, although there are many other aspects to it: weed management, pest management, disease and pest management. And of course, there's a big contribution of varieties itself. So with this background, I'm very happy to be here. I thank the organizers for asking me. I find it very great honor to be co-chairing with Dr. A.K. Singh, who has been my mentor and who has been guiding me for almost, our association is almost a decade old. We've been very closely working ever since NICRA started. And then as my stint as the director at ATARI, we worked very closely. And I am so indebted to him for his generosity and very positive outlook of encouraging people to do new things. So thank you, sir. I'm very happy. And the panel is also very distinguished. And it's so nice to be, co-chairing a session where many of the friends and colleagues with whom we have been associated for decades are there. And it's again a pleasure to be back here. So it's a homecoming. Although I'm sitting far away, I still feel that I'm amongst you. So I wish this session a very good beginning. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Over to you, sir, again.
So thank you, Dr. Dixit. Very nicely elaborated the work being done by ICRISAT, and we are also proud of you. The way you are putting the perspective of extension in ICRISAT, and also when you were there with the ICR. So all the time you have been striving quite innovatively, I will say, and very successfully also. So thank you very much. Now we can go ahead, and now may I request Dr. Suresh Pal, Director, National Institute of Agriculture Economics and Policy Research. And he also needs no introduction. Everybody knows him. He is one name who has been guiding ICR, other institutions also with these policy papers and initiatives. And I hope that the perspective on rice, which we have been talking, and even Niti, I have also have made a lot of, you can say, some observations in the past, recent past. So we'll be getting answer from him that how to move ahead. So please come forward, Dr. Paul, and make your deliberations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your kind words, and good morning, colleagues and friends. It's really privileged to be associated with this discussion, because this is a very important crop, rice, which we are going to discuss. And now there are a number of issues related to research, related to policy, which we need to address if this crop has to really contribute to the rural economy. Further, my discussion basically will focus on a couple of things which we have, the work which we have done long back. So you can just say it is a bit dated work, but my direct focus will be on rice research, how it has in the past, and what are the things we need to focus right now. Sorry, I don't have any PowerPoint presentation, but I will make my points directly. First, let me just indicate this. Rice research has been one of the most successful programs in the country. And this I'm saying with all, let's say, the background information and the work which we have done. This can be illustrated with just simple facts that in rice, we are able to maintain and in fact improve the productivity, potential productivity, with a lot of improvement in other things. Those improvements are improving the quality of grain. That is a very, very significant contribution in all the varieties, in all the regions where they were growing, superfine rice, fine rice, or even the average rice. There is significant improvement in the grain quality, keeping the productivity or the yield same or increasing that. That is a very significant contribution. Second major contribution is that there is increase in the number of, let's say, the varieties which have been developed and which are tolerant to different kind of stresses. We are able to reduce the impact of yield reducers. That is the second most contribution. And third is it's related to what we call the generally bidders, they measure the productivity per day. That is, in simple words, we can say we have a large number of varieties, increased number of varieties, which have a short duration, not the full duration. So improving the, let's say, the on duration, we are able to have the same in less time. We are having to have, let's say, varieties which are tolerant to different stresses. We are having varieties which have better grain quality. So these are significant development, and these are documented. I will share the reference, all those things. But at the same time, there has been increase in the you can say the number of varieties which are developed. When I say the number of varieties increase, so it means there is a simultaneous improvement in the package of practices, because we can realize the yield on the farmer's field only when the package of practices also have been improved. So therefore, there is significant contribution of the, you can see the rice improvement program. And that's what I say, the rice research has been one of the, I would say, the successful research program, and where both ICR Institute and State Agricultural Universities, they are participating. In terms of yield, if you look at it, during the last 30 years, for the country as a whole, we are able to double our productivity yield. And the for the South Asia as a whole, which is assessed by the CGIAR, they have also indicated that increase in productivity is 1 ton almost during the same period. So that is a very significant improvement or significant impact which is realized on the farmer field. So this indicate the you can say the degree of success of rice research in the country. We have also estimated, particularly for this rice wheat system, what is the impact of technological change, mainly varietal improvement for paddy and wheat. And there we also find significant change and improvement in the, let's say, yield of superfine rice or basmati rice, what we call, that is again a major impact. And the rate of return which we have estimated for this region, where generally there is a perception that we have reached a plateau yields. They are not growing that fast earlier, which is true to some extent, but is still, it is generating a lot of returns to the farmers as well as for the society as a whole. And rate of return to the investment is 39%, which is quite significant. So the overall program has been very, very productive. But at the same time, there are issues related to how these gains they have been distributed. So most of these gains have been confined to the irrigated regions. But other regions where the productivity gain is not that high. So therefore, those are the issues we need to focus. If you look at the spread of or the area under rice, nearly 50% area is in the eastern India, 24-25 million hectare, maybe more now. And there, around 1/3 area in the eastern India is irrigated. Then we have the lowland, quite significant. So that is also quite, you can say, the favorable environment. But a significant proportion of area is under, I would say, the unfavorable production environment, which comprises the uplands where the stresses are multiple. And then we have this deep water rice where the crop is submerged for a considerable period of time. So therefore, in the research programs, maybe because the probability of success is extremely low in this difficult production environment, the investment as well as the research progress in this production environment has been very, very low. And these are the regions where we can realize the maximum impact on poverty reduction if you are able to improve the productivity of rice, because this is the main crop there and it will have other impact also. Therefore, we need to focus on this, and we need to see how best we can improve the productivity in this particular region. In this region only, Eastern India, we can just see during the 80s when there was some kind of a shift in terms of introducing the second crop, that is in the Boro season, the growth in productivity, it was the highest ever achieved in any region, even higher than what was achieved in the irrigated region. And it was almost 4%, which we have never achieved. And it is because the technology is spread to the, let's say, the irrigated environment in the second season, where it is more favorable. We have irrigated conditions. So there I would say the major growth in the rice production in the region, as well as for the country, came from this change in area, shift in area, additional area which was brought. But after that, the productivity growth has been rather, I would say, the limited. Now, if we look at the investment for the region as a whole, just compare, we have tried to do it. I'll share the publication. So there, if you see in totality, either you see the investment which is coming to the region, particularly from the state, or you see the a number of scientists working, or the funding per scientist they have in this region. So that is very, very low. I would say the lowest, particularly if we compare only for the rice program in different regions. For example, in this region, State Agriculture University, it is with dated information, which I am sharing with you. It was per scientist $11,000, which we have estimated. Other part, it is $16,000, which the per scientist they are spending in a year. But if you look our ICR system, it was $42,000 they were spending. So it means not only we are spending, I mean, they are less worker, but the funding for these scientists, that is also low in this particular region. And that is another reason why we are putting, you can say, bringing down the probability of success. So therefore, and for aggregate level also we have seen, it was, I think, 90s, late 90s, or maybe early 2000 decade. So we look at the aggregate as a whole, how the different regions they are invested in terms of investment. And Eastern region was one of the areas where this investment intensity was low. And after that, it was discussed at the higher level. And it was because of that, the investment started in the Eastern India, particularly establishing the ICR research complex in this Patna, as well as in this Barapani. So that started. So therefore, if we have to address the research need of this, you can say, the unfavorable production environment, we need to have more, let's say, the research intensity there. We need to provide more scientists. We need to provide more resources so that they are able to contribute to this. If you see in terms of output also, if you see number of varieties which are developed, they are 25 per million hectare in the irrigated region. And for this upland rice, they are only just 14 varieties. And if you discount by how many varieties they are entering into the seed chain, so it will be further low. And therefore, we need to just see how best we can improve this. Now, looking at the researchers, so around 62% they are working outside, and 38% they are working for the rainfed region. And what I said earlier, if you adjust this manpower number with the funding they have, the share of, let's say, the other regions, it comes to 69%. So we have half of the area where only 40% or even less than that is workers or the resources they are given, and where the production environment is challenging. It can have greater impact because if we just introduce, let's say, the better varieties, or we have increase in the productivity, certainly it will have major impact on the productivity and poverty reduction in the region, because even the size of holding is very, very small. So therefore, that is one factor we do it. If we look at the focus of research, so two areas, they account really 50%. One is the agronomy and the pest management. These, I mean, scientists from these two disciplines. And this is basically, you can say, justified, because there we have number of multiple stresses, and there we need to focus on the pest management practices as well as agronomy, how we can, let's say, manage the multiple stresses through, let's say, the crop management practices, particularly in the upland, right? So that's very, very important. So thematic focus is okay, but in terms of intensity, I'm sure it might have improved recently. It was 10-15 years back. So maybe it has improved slightly because more investment has gone, but one can really look at that. So these are the things, actually, facts which are coming from the rice research. So now the second question is where we need to focus further. Of course, the region is, of course, a priority region. But within this region also, we can classify different kind of production environment or different kinds of, you can say, the pockets or the sub-regions. And here you will find, say, Boro rice, we have high yield as well as stability. For irrigated, wherever it is there in the main season, we have high yield as well as, let's say, the stable yield. But there is a large number of area, upland, deep water, where the yield is low as well as the risk is also risk is high. So this is really, I would say, where a lot of uncertainty is there, very high risk is there. So to address the research problem in this particular region should be the focus, and there increasing the productivity gains, because there is a last there is a vast, you can say, scope for increasing the productivity. And immediately, of course, there will be specific technologies for this production environment, but at the same time, we can look at it. We can look at it that some of the available technology, particularly varieties, they can be grown in this kind of environment. I will give just one example. All of you know, because you are working in the field, you knows it. There is one variety which is Swarna, and it was basically it was bred for the southern region, irrigated region. But now this is occupying most of the area. Maybe some changes there in the southern region as well as eastern region, and it has been improved with the let's say for the submergence condition, Swarna sub1, because that gene they have introduced. So this way, the technologies or the varieties which are already available, they can be applied to this production environment, so which can be really can be helpful in improving the productivity. Same is true for the, let's say, the weed management, upland rice, even the rainfed, this deep water also. If you are able to do it properly, so that will also, because studies they have shown the yield losses because of this weed, it is very, very high. And this SRI is doing, making a lot of impact, particularly that corner weeder, which is used by the smallholders for weeding and other things. So that is another major area of focus which is required. And then second thing is, of course, the market is not that, I mean, say, well developed in the sense it is still a small marketed surplus, and they are not a proper marketing arrangement, including the rice milling. I'm sure investment will be coming. So that is another area which is required. So these are the what we can just learn from the rice research programs. And there the basic message is coming that we have to identify the priorities and target our resources to address the problem of those priority regions, priority, let's say, the theme, so that we are able to make the desired impact. Now, coming to the next point, what are the other things which we need to focus? Chairman sir, time kitna hai? 30 minutes or 50 total?
नहीं, आपको कितना time चाहिए?
No, I will complete in time. Maybe another 5-10 minutes, not more.
Okay, please.
Thank you. So now coming to the priorities, there are some visible priorities actually for the rice research which we need to address. And I will place first on the top is basically the residue management, crop residue management. And this is generally now indicated for the Northwest India, but this will be a problem throughout the country because we don't have not many alternate uses of this paddy straw, and it takes time to degrade in the, let's say, the field conditions. There are a number of options. IRE has a technology, they say that it can degrade in, I don't know how many days, 30 days or so. The regional committee meeting, PAU was also, they were also telling that they have a technology which can degrade. But the point is, it's not really seen on the farmer's field. We need to think of the outscaling of these particular technologies, which has a potential, but we need to see what are the bottlenecks and how we can take this technology to the farmers. What is the incentive for the farmers to use these kind of technology? That is one. For them, it could be basically it improves the, let's say, the soil fertility, but that has to be demonstrated on the farmers' field. Second, conservation agriculture is being discussed, but hardly when we discuss the conservation agriculture, this decomposition is not discussed. And when we discuss the decomposition, conservation agriculture, but I think they are component of the same package and they have to be taken together. And conservation agriculture also has a lot of potential, which is in fact CEMIT is promoting. There are other uses of this paddy straw. One is power generation, ethanol production, and use in the paper industry. There are technology available. There are some power plant which is coming up in Punjab. There is plant for ethanol production. It is there somewhere. I don't know whether in UP or Uttarakhand. So it is working there. and of course at many places the paper industry. But a large scale application of these is not really a seen. It means there are still some constants, whether these are related to technology, these are related to let's say viability of these technologies, or the adequate investment is not coming. So my point is, we need to have a business model. Business model, if it is going for the power generation, so how it can go, how it can be an incentive for the farmer, how it can be incentive for the industry. So that we have to look at the economic viability and feasibility, technical feasibility of the technology. That is extremely important. So this is one priority. So this is now for a particular region where we have the high productivity, but it will be a problem in all the regions in the years to come. Second thing which the Chairman Saab has already mentioned is opening remarks is basically water management. As I mentioned earlier, it is a large area throughout the country is irrigated. And northern and southern regions, the large, you can say it is using the groundwater. And therefore, it is a lot of, you can say the kind of increasing the cost as well as putting stress on the farm economy in the sense a lot of cost is involved, or if some support is coming maybe in the form of a subsidy, so that is not well appreciated. So therefore, we need to have the water saving technologies, whether these are a kind of direct seeded rice, whether these are sprinkler irrigation, whatever kind of let's say technologies are there, their out scale is extremely important. Then only this problem will be addressed, and we need to address this problem very promptly. Otherwise, there will be a lot of ecological consequences. Another major problem for the irrigated region is that the cost is actually rising very fast, and that large component that cost is this labor cost. So we need to move towards mechanization. Harvesting it is there, but transplanting it is not there actually. And we have the technology, we have the machine, but it's still the large scale adoption is not there. So therefore, paddy transplanter, we have to take it faster, and at the same time, we have to reduce the overall cost. And that is very, very important, because that brings to another point. Because if we have to keep the price regime, you can say a regime which attracts the farmers, which encourages the production, we need to export a significant amount of rice. It is all kinds of rice. If it is basmati, it's going to West Asia, Eastern, a lot of rice trade is taking place. But we are not able to compete. And if you have slightly increased the productivity, reduce the cost, will be able to compete in the international market. And that very, very essential. If you are not able to do that, there will be, because the demand for rice is just coming from the population growth. It is not coming from income growth, little bit, just very small segment of the, let's say the society, where if you increase the income, the demand will increase. But largely it is coming from the population growth. And therefore, we need to focus on the increasing the export of rice. There is market, China is importing, other countries, they are importing. But Vietnam is a big competitor. Thailand is also a big competitor. So we have to see how we compete them, both in terms of the quality as well as the price, so that we are able to increase and provide the access to the farmers of the market. That is very, very important. My last point is related to seed. I don't know what is the latest situation, but earlier the use of commercial seed or quality seed was not that high, particularly in this region. In most of the region, it was not there, but south, it improved better because most of the seed production is taking place there. And this is now seed. In fact, it was moving from south, particularly Andhra. It's I don't know whether it's part of now Telangana, Mahbub Nagar. It's part of Telangana now, I guess. So from that region, it was moving to the coastal Andhra, and from coastal Andhra, it was moving towards Odisha and other states. So therefore, because maybe whether they are not able to produce, and farmers, if they just save seed, maybe there are problem of storage because of humidity or something. So therefore, we need to strengthen the supply chain in the seed supply chain in the region, because which is very extremely important. And if you are able to improve, let's say the availability of quality seed 10 to 15% without any additional, let's say the package of practices or input use, we'll be able to increase the yield by 10 to 15%, which is very important. Farmers, it means we are able to reduce the cost by that amount, and certainly that will improve the productivity as well as income of the farmers. So these were, Chairman Sir, some of my points we just wanted to share with the group. But to publication in terms of investment, we can you can just refer to, participant, those who are interested. One is recently agriculture R&D policy. So by state, by regions, we have estimates. And second paper we published long back in 2007 in food policy. And there basically we examine all these details, how we are investing in the research and how it compares in different regions. So the basic question we address there, whether the unfavorable production environment, they are underinvested. So thank you, sir, for your time, and thanks to the organizers for giving this opportunity to be part of this discussion. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Suresh Paul, for making a very clear-cut presentation of the scenario of rice, particularly in terms of policies and also the research investment which is being made in terms of rice, and what are the options which have to explore in the future. So thank you very much. We are not going to take questions just now because we are running 15 minutes out of time. So I will go to the next speaker, and I'm happy that today we have got Dr. P. Chandrasekhar, the DG Manage. Somehow it is written otherwise in the circulation which we have got. So DG Manage, and we are also very much proud that you, being one of the extension fraternity, the scientific fraternity, joined first as DG Niyam and then DG Manage. So we are all proud of you, and we'll be very happy to hear from you today on policy reforms towards market-led extension of rice technologies. So Dr. Chandrasekhar, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Singh Saab. Honorable Chair, Dr. A.K. Singh, DDG Extension. Co-Chair, Dr. Srinath Dikshit, Head Development Center, ICRISAT. Conveners, Dr. Kumar, Dr. Padaria, and we have panelists, co-panelist, Dr. Suresh Palji, and Jiju Alex, and Dr. Anjani Kumar, and all the participants. Good morning, all of you. Of course, my focus of my presentation today will be on policy implications on market-led extension. This is a hot topic today, as of now. We all know. We all agree that the focus should be shifted from production to marketing, and sincere efforts are made in policy circles to bring this change. But it also throws several challenges to extension fraternity. How to transform policy intentions into the practical benefits to farmers. That is the challenge before us. Number one, we need to convince the farming community, and we should ensure that they adopt the policy intentions. That is the great challenge, before us. So my presentation focus on some of these issues. Next slide, please. The first effort came through, doubling farmers' income report. Now, basically, the extension system is designed to address the deficit in agriculture production. But now we have to address marketable surplus. Exactly, a different role we are going to play, and it needs, some basic changes in the job chart of the extension worker, and it leads to several, grassroots level challenges also. Shifting our focus from production-led extension to market-led extension. This is the need of the hour. But if you randomly take any extension definition, basically the focus is on transfer of technology, service to extend the research benefits to the knowledge of the farmers. But effort is made in doubling farmers' income report by redefining the agricultural extension, indicating that it is an empowering system of sharing information, knowledge, technology, skill, many more things. But what is important is the focus is made on agriculture value chain and to see the benefits in terms of income. See, agriculture value chain based extension, which results in enhancing the income of the farmers. These two things were highlighted in DFI committee report, definition of agricultural extension. Next, please. So, if you go to the field, the requirement of the farmers are entirely different from very traditional perception. So it is not about soil, water, many more things. Today they are asking, of course, broadly, their requirements are intensification, diversification. What are the state and central government programs in which farmers can take the benefits, market-oriented information? What are the services, specialized services provided by agribusiness companies? Contract farming requirement is there. How to establish farmers producers organization, how to link FPO to the credit, extension, infrastructure, value addition and market. Labor shortage is there, farmers requirement is farm mechanization, how to establish custom hiring centers. We need skilled para-technicians. We are talking about water use efficiency wherever shortage is there, but otherwise also it is a very precious commodity. The Honorable Chair already made, a important statement on this. Pest management, 30–40% of, the crop loss takes place because of the pest and diseases. And this is very important component. Farmers always require this kind of information. Important is the credit facilitation because every season they want, the credit for crop cultivation. Next, please. There is huge demand for organic products, and wherever these good agriculture practices are followed, some kind of premium price is available to the farmers. Farmers are asking what is this GAP, how to adopt this, whether we can store the commodities, and what are the schemes available, what are the designs for warehouse, cold storage, and how to pledge our produce and get the loans. What are the farm management practices? Apart from on-farm, what are the off-farm and non-farm activities? Now the farmer is also perceived as, the entrepreneur. Not only he produce, even he has to sell his produce. What are the marketing skills required at farmers level? What are the advantage of direct marketing? How we can use eNAM and ICT platforms for trading, how to manage the risk, what are all the public-private partnership opportunities. When the farmers are in distress, how to give psychological counseling. This is also need. See, if you go to the job chart of any extension worker, even though in basic course these issues are very much highlighted, but when we come to the job chart, these things are missing. Redressal of grievances of farmers, climate change related issues are emerging, farmers' aspirations are growing, capital intensive agriculture is emerging. See, these are all the emerging areas which are directly related to market, directly related to enhancing the income of the farmers, which are demanded by the farmers, which the market-led extension approach should provide. Next, please. in the month of May, during lockdown period, Honorable Prime Minister made Atmanirbhar Bharat, and agriculture is very much highlighted because today we are examining what are the policy implications on market-led extension. This is very big statement came from Honorable Prime Minister. He talked about it is the time to become vocal for our local products and make them global. That means, is it possible to link local production with the local consumption systems? And if surplus is there, take it outside the state, outside the country, and you can even export and earn good money, which ultimately aims at enhancing the income of the farmers. So this is what the intention is. Atmanirbhar Bharat, of course, it also focused on Atmanirbhar Krishi. We all aware about that. Next, please. The 5 economic stimulus packages were announced, and part 3, it was announced by Honorable Finance Minister, May 13th onwards. But the third package fully focused on agriculture. Next, please. I will focus only on agriculture. Next, please. Next. Next, please. Yes. Yes. So this is the, if you look at the nature of the programs announced, basically they aim at creating infrastructure which support primary processing, secondary processing, agri-logistics, linking farmers to market, promotion of farmers producers organizations, and not only agriculture, even subsector development like fisheries, horticulture, and some niche areas, for example, which add additional income to the farmers, like herbal cultivation or beekeeping. All these activities were highlighted in agriculture stimulus. And ultimately, when we say farm to plate, basically we have to promote food micro enterprises. 10,000 crore is devoted for that. And this is one of the emerging challenge for extension worker. How to convince that these kind of enterprises can be taken up by the farmers, not only production, processing, but also food micro enterprises farmers can adopt for additional income. Of course, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, it talks about establishing modern infrastructure for the benefit of fishermen. And another program on Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund, it focused on creating not only modern infrastructure, but also encouraging farmers to identify niche product which have export demand. So all these programs aims at creation of infrastructure, primary and secondary processing, agri-logistics, and which all shift our focus from production to processing and marketing. So now the challenge before extension is how our extension worker translates this policy intention in the form of practical benefits to the farmers and convince him and ensure that he adopts it. Next, please. Next, please. Next. Yeah, this is actually Atmanirbhar Krishi. This is very important component of Atmanirbhar Bharat. In these 4 important points were highlighted. Number 1, it is brand recall for agriculture produce, make in India. So you produce. Second one, attracting investment in agriculture. Agriculture becoming a investment destination. The third one, enhancing the export, $30 billion to $60 billion by 2022. And the last and most important one, this is the benefit which we would like to see at farmers level, doubling the farmers' income. So if you see all these 4 pillars of Atmanirbhar Krishi, again the focus is on export, investment, on branding and income. So all these, clearly indicate we are shifting from production to market-led extension, and extension worker need to change the narration when we go to the farmers. Next, please. Of course, I am going to deal with for next 10 minutes the two important the acts announced by the government of India and 2 important programs in detail. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is about Trade and Commerce Act. This Trade and Commerce Act basically talks about creating a sense of freedom in buying and selling in agriculture. This is very, very important. We cannot dictate farmer, you should go to only one place and sell there only, missing all the market opportunities. So when we talk about farmer, especially in this act, it also includes farmers producers organization. We are talking about group-led extension, which is basic essential for the market-led extension. Here there is no interference in the state legislature, and production is location specific, but the consumption is everywhere. So the transportation is very, very important. There should not be restriction on this transportation. Therefore, interstate and intrastate restrictions are removed through this act. And building accountability in trading. The trader should have PAN card. Something goes wrong, we can go for a dispute resolution mechanism, which is very quick. Within 30 days, using local government officials like our SDM and collector, this can be handled. And quick payment is assured. There is no market fee. There is market intelligence system for the farmers. Of course, this is in the process. And there is proposal for creating a e-trading and a transaction platform for farmers. See, if you look at this policy, clearly it focuses on the changes in the marketing facilities, privileges given to the farmers. So tomorrow when we go to the field, probably the narration of the extension worker is going to change. We have to tell within 50 and 100 kilometers radius, and which is the market which can give best price for his commodity. So, and we have to explain all the benefits which farmers are going to get. This is a new normal for extension worker. Therefore, it is very important, a massive, this market literacy campaign has to take place first among the extension workers, and then only we can expect, the better benefit among the farmers. Next, please. Next. This is the second act. This is about, the Contract Farming Act. The Contract Farming Act, it actually the biggest problem for the farmer is getting the market. The Contract Farming Act ensures that there is a fixed price and there is a definite market, assured market for the farmers. So there are apprehensions, the sponsors may grab the land of the farmers. Of course, there are all the myths, but we all know that the reality is actually the agreement is based on the crop, not based on the land. So nobody will take the land of the farmers. So removing these myths and telling the truth, this also becomes the additional responsibility of the farmers, extension workers to the farmers. So this is a big challenge of today. Next, please. So in this, of course, there is an agreement for up to 5 years. If the farmers and sponsors want, it can go beyond 5 years. And this apprehension, what are all the some basic apprehensions are there with respect to quality? They may not agree, but always a third party can, our KVK scientist can come and he can certify the quality, and which is acceptable to both farmers and the sponsors. And it is a written agreement. Neither farmers nor the sponsors can cheat each other. There is a clear-cut security for both the people. And next, please. At a given time, given place, the delivery of the produce take place, and the spot payment of is ensured to the farmers. And whatever the transaction takes place, farmers will get the receipt. Some kind of security is there. No permanent structures will come in the land. Additional benefits like insurance and credit and input supply, many additional services can be given to farmers under this. And of course, local and quick dispute resolution mechanism is also there, so that they need not go to court for 5,000, 10,000 for years together, and getting into the hands of advocates and spending a lot of money on this. So these are all the benefits given. See, if whenever a agribusiness company wants to initiate a dialogue with the farmers, they hesitate because they don't get adequate quantity, adequate quality, which they want to export or if they want to use it for processing. But through contract farming, they are assured of quantity, they are assured of quality, assured of price, and it is a win-win situation for farmers as well as the sponsors. So clearly, again, it takes care of inviting, attracting agribusiness sector directly in contact with the farmers or farmers producers organizations. Next, please. Of course, other two schemes are there. I don't want to elaborate. Number one is farmers producers organization. So basically, when we go to field, the narration which we want to bring in market-led extension is, it is not individual-led extension, it is group-led extension. So here, there is a provision, 10,000 farmers producers companies will come, and all these companies will be registered. They get financial benefits of 18 lakh rupees. They get management support. They get mentorship for up to 5 years. Financial services are given to them, so that they create some infrastructure and processing facilities and agri-logistics activities, so that they can directly connect it to market. They can eliminate the middleman, and whatever 50-60% of the profit which is going to the hands of middleman, and that can directly go to the farmers, because they are in the group and they are managing their marketing activities, processing activities by themselves. So when we talk about doubling farmers' income, I think that this scheme becomes very, very important. Next, please. Another and the last important. Next, please. Next. Next, please. Next. Yeah, the last important, the scheme is the Agri Infrastructure Fund. See, when we bring farmers into group, for a group of 500 or 1,000 farmers, they want huge infrastructure. For that creation, they need money, and that money is made available by Agri Infrastructure Fund. It is collateral free; they need not give any security, and there is the interest subvention is there for 2 crores for 7 years. It works out to be nearly 42 lakh rupees. This money is saved by a group of farmers, locally relevant, crop specific. It includes even the rice farmers also. Whatever the infrastructure need to be created, they can create, and cooperative societies will help, NABARD will help, and the local banking institutions will help farmers in this direction. Next, please. Next. Next, please. So next. So what I am just trying to emphasize, during this presentation is the focus is shifting from production to marketing, and several policy initiatives of recent days clearly they support market-led extension. But when we come to the grassroots level, changing the job chart of extension worker, changing his approaches, attitude, a massive capacity building is must, and changes should take place at individual extension worker level. Then only we can expect the intentions of the policies are 100% translated as benefits to the farmers. We as extension worker play very, very important role. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chandrasekhar. Very nicely elaborated. And various aspects of market-led extension has been made clear to all of us. And this is one area on which all the time debates are going on. And we find the farmers of different states are getting different kinds of, you can say, privileges, and also the prices. So we have to come out with a platform by which farmers are suitably supported, and probably the provisions which we are just highlighting through government acts. And this will provide an opportunity for, you can say, the assured prices to the farmers, assured markets also, and we hope that in future the market issues will be resolved. That is what we can think of. And I am grateful to you for making such a nice presentation on various aspects. You have brought the wisdom from NIAM also, and to narrate the whole issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So now I move on to Dr. Jiju Alex, Director Extension from KAU, and he will be speaking on reviving rice production systems, institutional changes and policy recommendations.
Thank you,
So,
sir. Thank
Dr.
you.
Alex, please.
Sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, one and all. I am extremely happy that I have been invited to deliver this keynote address on the rice production systems, the institutional changes which are good. So I think I would go by a presentation. Is it visible, sir? Is it okay?
Yes, yes, please.
So in fact, we would have a brief discussion on how an ailing rice production system could be revived based on the experiences that we had in a state like Kerala, which would be having some cues towards policy making as well as for other interventions. In fact, I would just skip through these slides. We know that there has been substantial increase in the production of rice, and rice is a very major crop of our country. However, the issue is that we have not been able to get yields ranging from 3.7 to 8, which is very high in some other countries like Egypt, China, Japan, or Korea, for which we may have to do substantial work across the country, not only to maintain the system, but also to enhance the productivity of the system. The Indian saga of rice has been of a steep rise in production during the Green Revolution era, which was followed by a somewhat stagnant phase. And so many reasons are attributed to this kind of a stagnation, which we have experienced in this country, particularly in the rice tracts of the country. There has been imbalanced use of fertilizers and pesticides. And also water depletion is supposed to be a major issue that has been quoted. And there's deterioration, the physical condition of the soil. And also the problems with crop management, particularly with the pests and diseases, has also been quoted scientifically as reasons which have led to this kind of a stagnation. And leave aside all the policy issues and other things which we would discuss. So in fact, the challenge before us is so huge. It is estimated that rice production will have to be increased by almost about 114 million tons by 2035. And this we may have to achieve through a very hard process. We may have to undergo severe threats from climate change. And also it is going to have decreasing amount of available agricultural land, labor, and water. So many constraints are facing us, particularly when you consider the importance of food production to meet the requirements of our population. So, in fact, when you closely examine the rice production systems, the major emerging challenge, the overarching emerging challenge would be to sustain the present level of self-sufficiency. And also, as I told you earlier, keeping pace with the present level of population growth. We have to achieve almost about 2.5 to 3.5% annual growth to add at least 2 to 2.5 million tons of additional rice per annum. So this is going to be a humongous task. And the trends in increase in production in area has been showing a stabilized growth, which is almost around 44 million hectare. And if that is the case, the only option left for achieving future production would be only yield improvement and other associated interventions. So in fact, the major intervention for rice production systems, a review shows that it has been mostly resource conservation, crop improvement, enhancing production input efficiency, sustainable crop management, and crop diversification and alternate land use. These are all the major categories of interventions that we have tried over a period of time to sustain our rice production systems. So, important. In fact, I would drive home a case of Kerala because of its very unique nature, which is an ailing production system which is mostly converted for non-agriculture purposes, and the contribution of the rice production system to food security for the state is very less. We have to largely depend on other states for food, maybe being part of the public distribution system across the country. It is not a big issue, but at the same time, destructing a system which was very robust, which has got greater significance in the physical condition of the state itself, was ruined progressively over 5-6 decades. And how do you revive the system is a major challenge before us. In fact, I would like to explain this case in relation to such ailing systems in other parts of the country as well. Rice as a whole, I would say, in spite of the fact that it is important, the systems have got several shortcomings, several constraints are faced by farmers, and sustaining that system has become very difficult. So in fact, it is very important that we have to view the sustenance of this rice production system from different angles, from different perspectives. So coming to this particular case of Kerala, since the 1970s, the state has witnessed a steady decline in the area under paddy. And in fact, in 40 years, rice fields have reduced by about 76%. That is a huge reduction. This land has been used for other purposes. And small and marginal paddy fields were reclaimed for non-agriculture purposes particularly. And major reason was the economy of scale. You cannot have profitable production in smaller holdings. And the best way in front of the farmers was to leave rice production as such. And this increased cost of production and the issues of economy of scale had led to deterioration of a whole production system in the state. So these are the trends. You can see that the area has been going down like anything. Production was also going down, and that was a tremendous decrease could be found. But however, productivity has been increasing due to various interventions. This is a classic case of how productivity can increase over a period of time due to various interventions, particularly in the major rice production tracts. We could achieve as much as 6 tons per hectare, 7 tons per hectare over this period. However, the entire system has been going down. It is in this context there has been a cafeteria of interventions which had taken place over a period of time initiated by various governments. I am trying to put these things in perspective so that we will have to discuss this issue from a different point of view. That is, if you really want to revive a system which is on the verge of destruction, particularly a production system, you have to have multiple interventions. You have to have interventions from different perspectives, and you have to have a framework. That framework has to be very comprehensive. So we are going to have a look at the various components of this framework. How did various interventions work in unison to revive the system? And I would say that as a result of these interventions, the rice production system is slowly recovering. In fact, in the last 2-3 years, there has been an increase in the percentage of growth in rice, not only in production, in area as well. It is very difficult to revive a system and bring it back to the path of growth, particularly in the agriculture sector. So in fact, this first intervention was the introduction of participatory management of resources and operations, which is widely known as the group farming approach. Being small-scale farmers, people have to harness their resources, pool their resources, and use them judiciously by arriving at a consensus. So an example is community nurseries could be created, and simultaneous production processes, say for example, buying fertilizer simultaneously, I mean jointly at a single point of time, then distributing it and scheduling the operation of cultivation in such a way that the resources are used with equity. And also there can be different fora for these farmers to engage in dialogue and in decision making. So there has been institution of this democratic bodies of farmers to manage various activities. This was an experiment which was initiated 2 2-3 decades back, but it was stagnant for a while. It has been recouped now. It has been reinvigorated. So this group farming approach is the best way of managing the resources. If people come together and manage their resources as a single unit, then the cost of various operations would be substantially reduced. So this is one intervention, that was a community engagement of farmers or participatory management of resources as applied in the rice production system in Kerala, was having very, very positive results. So the second one was a legal component, a legal dimension. That is, how do you curb the conversion of paddy lands? So if conversion of paddy lands has been going without any hindrance, it would have certainly deteriorated the system. I would say it would have certainly wiped off the system from the entire Kerala agricultural sector. That would have been the picture. But you have to restrict it legally. So the government came up with a law restricting conversion of paddy lands. The Conservation of Paddy and Wetland Act insisted certain norms for reclamation. Who can reclaim land, to what extent, under what conditions. They were a bit stringent, but it has started paying off. Conversion of land beyond a particular period of time was declared illegal. No construction activity could be allowed in such places. And there has been a monitoring system at the grassroots level, engaging farmer representatives, the department officials, as well as people's representatives of local bodies. They would sit together and judge the suitability of certain applications. And if there is a confusion over that, and they could represent their case at appellate authorities in the various hierarchical levels. So this monitoring and regulatory system at the grassroots level was found to be very effective in curbing conversion. And also, in fact, the environmental significance of paddy lands, that I will discuss that later, that was also factored in the process of this law. In fact, whenever there is a huge stretch of land which is a source of, or which is at the end of a water body, at the tail end or the head end of a water body, those things had to be very carefully dealt with. Those particular areas have to be very carefully dealt with, and you cannot go for serious operations in such places. And there were also norms on the possession and use of land. Say, for example, absentee landlordism is a major issue. Then how do you leave your paddy land fallow, and how long you can do that? And if it lies fallow for a longer period, there were provisions that the local body could intervene and take up that land and give it to community groups or somebody who is interested in farming, so that no land would be allowed to lie fallow. So, and also the local sub-government institutions also could involve in the process of arbitration and in conflict resolution in this process. So that was one way of dealing with this issue from a community point of view. Another important thing was the institutional innovations. I am leaving technology because techs across the country working on various agroclimatic regions and the rice production systems in those zones, and we have been able to customize many of the technologies. They are all robust. But with regard to the institutional arrangements which are required to support this technology transfer or this technology-driven growth is very important. That is why I concentrate on this. So the institutional innovations and partnership, and Dr. Chandrasekhara and also Dr. Suresh Pal had been emphasizing on various interventions possible. And one of the major interventions is trained manpower for mechanization to compensate or to find a solution to the problem of labor scarcity. So in fact, we have come up with a series of custom hire service centers and a series of trained manpower, which are called the Food Security Army. In fact, the Kerala Agriculture University only initiated that process. We have been able to train educated youth on various sophisticated skills which are required to operate machines, for maintenance of machines, etc. And they are given an organizational form, and they are positioned at the block level, and they can operate custom hire services. They can even own their own machines and operate. Now it has come to a mode of entrepreneurship development rather. that is providing labor support to rice production system has now attained the form of an entrepreneurship, a field of entrepreneurship. So this is one thing which has been very effective in addressing the issue of labor scarcity. And local bodies were treated as a pattern of rice production. They could intervene at any point of time, at any stage, and they can organize people, organize communities, and even organize funds, etc., to put in place various systems which are helpful for rice production. And farmer or producer organization variability is there across the country. Another important thing is the normal support that we give, that is the production incentives and procurement incentives that we usually give for food grains. One thing which we have done particularly is we declared the highest procurement price in the country, that is almost about 27 rupees per kilogram for procurement of rice. So this is a huge procurement price, and this has attracted many farmers. It has made sure that if you go for paddy cultivation, if you have substantial area and if you adopt these approaches, it need not be less profitable. It can be profitable. Rice production can be profitable. So that itself has driven many people to come back and resume rice production. And also several special schemes of fallow land cultivation by women collectives and integration of financial resources was also envisaged as part of rice production. Various schemes are declared by the government. Local bodies have got their own programs, but you have to pool all the financial resources so that the cost of cultivation requirements would be met from these financial sources. So it could be either through credit, or it could be through subsidies, or it could be through production incentives. All possible financial resources have to be integrated so that there will be substantial money to pay for various operations, and it becomes useful and profitable for the farmers ultimately. So which would attract people to either come back to rice production or not to leave rice production. So this is one thing which the government has been trying to do. So another important issue which I think would draw national attention even is the ecological importance ascribed to rice cultivation and also paddy fields. Paddy fields in a situation of, in a situation or in a state like Kerala is not only regarded as a source of maybe employment or source of food grains or the place of production of food grains. It is rather an ecological entity which provides water, which ensures perennial supply of water in various parts of the state. So the eco services by rice production system had to be factored into the significance of rice production system. Why should you conserve rice production? It is not only for profit, but it is also for various ecological services that it provides. So it has been decided recently to give royalty to farmers by factoring this ecological importance of rice. Royalty has been declared. So a farmer would be getting rupees 2,000 per hectare as a royalty for eco services provided by the rice. And this is for the first time an ecological component or a significance of the ecological importance of a production system has been factored into the production incentive for that matter. It is the first time. And another important thing is conservation, basically on-farm conservation of land races, rice genome saviors, community programs at tribal tracts. Extension intervention is another dimension of that framework. There is loads, many FFF series and so many programs on INM, IPM, IWM, weed management have been declared in tandem with these interventions, which I have explained right now. So, in fact, what I would like to emphasize at this point of time is that reviving a production system, particularly a system which is on the verge of extinction or deterioration, which is beyond manageable points, require a lot of energy and strength, a lot of focused intervention, which is multidimensional. So this dimension should include legal as well as technology and also community engagement and so many other things which we have discussed. So based on various cases, based on the peculiarity of a place, based on the socio-economic and political situations which exist from place to place, we may have to go for an institutional arrangements, particularly to support these systems. And I think such fragile systems can be supported only with the help of such kind of very broad organizational arrangements which we have to make from place to place. So in fact, this also warrants a lot of public investment. There has been a lot of debate on marketability and also how to sustain such systems. How can you withdraw public support? I am of the opinion that unless you go for enhanced public investment in terms of research, extension, and also various other support mechanisms, including value chain management to the farmers, it would be difficult for the, particularly the food grain sector, it is difficult for them to sustain and retain themselves in that job. So this issue has to be addressed comprehensively. It is not a question of technology alone. Technology really matters a lot. At the same time, lot many other interventions are required, and most important thing for that matter is community engagement and the kind of support that we give to such systems. So this is all what I wanted to discuss. I am extremely thankful to the organizers. I am so happy that we have Dr. A.K. Singh, the most respected DDG extension here, and Dr. Srinath Dikshit, who is a guide and philosopher to me, Dr. Suresh Pal, ICR National Institute of Agriculture Economics and Policy Research, Dr. Chandrasekhara, who is the new Director General of Manage. I am so happy that you are there. An academician assuming that kind of an office is very important. And also Dr. Anjani Kumar and my best friend, Dr. G.A.K. Kumar, for inviting me to this session. I just wanted to share this experience and try to extrapolate the cues that we would derive out of these experiences to major policy changes at the national level. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, Dr. Alex, for making it quite elaborately in terms of state policies and interventions. And I find quite of institutional innovations which are, you can say, only you can find in the state of Kerala, which can be upscaled in other states also. The kind of group farming which you are just discussing, and how the, you can say, the brand of skilled workers trained and they are being utilized for the services. So that model probably it can go to the other states also. We are highly enlightened with your presentations. Thank you very much. We'll take up the questions later on when Dr. Anjani Kumar's presentation is over. So thank you very much. Now let me invite Dr. Anjani Kumar, who is with the IFRI, and he has been a very old friend of us in ICR also, and even today. He is contributing a lot to the extension system. We get so many inputs from him. What IFRI does, that is different, but other than that, guiding our own research programs in extension, he has been coming all the time and rescuing us. So thank you for that also. And today we are going to hear from him, rice value chain and economic well-being in India. And that is probably one area which we have been discussing nowadays, that how our activities can be roped into and scaled to a value chain system. That is what it is required as of now. And if it is made, then probably the worries of the farmers, worries of the consumers, and also those who are contributing towards the input management system, probably that will be resolved. So very important topic for Dr. Anjani Kumar. I invite him for the presentation.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Dr. Singh and other distinguished panelists, Dr. Chandrasekhar, Dr. Srinath, and Dr. Juju Plex, Dr. Suresh Pal, and all other friends. First of all, thanks to the organizer for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts on the rice value chain. We all know, and there must be many elaborations on the importance of rice in the Indian agricultural economy. We all know that rice is a lifeline for a large proportion of Indian population. 85% of the rural households, all rural households, and 88% of the urban households, they consume rice. So you can understand the importance of rice in the food basket of India. Though of late there has been some decline in the consumption of rice, which is a part of larger diversification towards larger diversification of consumption towards high value commodities, fruits, vegetables, which is desirable over time. But still the consumption is quite high. Per capita availability of rice also has been stable for the last 25-30 years, and this has become possible primarily due to increased yield, because our population is increasing. So because of increase in yield, per capita availability is almost stable. Next please. So I will deliberate some of the how agriculture value chain or rice value chain can be defined, and who are the poor, what are the constraints of a smallholders, because Indian agriculture, or whether rice cultivators or cultivators of other crops, they are basically a smallholders, and they face lot of challenges in to participate, particularly in the formal value chains, and what the strategies can be leveraged for increasing their market access opportunities, and so impact can be increased. Next please. So here I would like to say that just now you have heard rice is stable at around 44 million hectares cultivated area, and around 60 million operational holdings. In terms of numbers, 60 million operational holdings, they are cultivating rice. And if you look at composition in terms of social stratification, whether it's 64% of the ST households are involved in cultivation of rice, 49% of scheduled caste households are. So across the social groups, the importance of rice is pervasive, and similar kind of situation in terms of area sharing. And also, if you look at the agricultural value of output, again, almost 1/3 of the agricultural value of output still comes from rice. So it is very important from the point of view of the income or economic well-being of the farmers. A lot depends on the efficient cultivation of rice. Efficient means, I mean that per unit of return should be high, then we can say that it's efficient. So still 1/3 of the agricultural value of output is coming at an average. And similar is the situation if we look at from the glance of the land categories. Next please. Similar is the situation when we see marginal, small, medium, and large farmers. So here again, similar situation, and dependence of marginal and small holders are more. Around 38% of agricultural households comes from rice cultivation in case of marginal farmers, and 30% in case of a smallholder. So dependence is inversely related to larger households. That's the point, is that the smallholders are more dependent on the efficiency of rice production system, on the efficiency of cultivation of rice. They are more dependent as compared to the large households, because larger households, they have more income from other sources, non-farm sources, other crops, but marginal and small holders, they are more dependent on the staple crops like rice. And therefore, even their stake is very high to how to build an efficient value chain for the rice commodity, so that their economic well-being can be further improved. Next. Another dimension which is very important from the point of food security or National Food Security Act. If we look at the National Food, we are mandated to provide some fixed kg of rice at very nominal prices, 3 rupees, and that covers around 75% of rural households and 66% of the urban households. And there again, rice plays an important role, and it's working on the ground also. And the proportion of households who are accessing public distribution system during the last survey, NSSO survey, because recent data we do not have because it was not made available by the government of India, but the trends show that it might have further grown. So around 52% of the households, they are accessing, they are taking rice from the PDS. And share of PDS in the rice consumption is around 28% at aggregate level. And in the purchase of the PDS, those who are accessing PDS, 37%. Again, here, if you look at the social stratification, that the ST household, SC households, they are more dependent on PDS. 62% of those households are getting some sort of grains from rice from PDS, 62% in case of SC households, 61%, OBC 51%, and in other category 41%, which is consistent with the inclusive policy of the government of India, that lower sections, weaker sections, they are more covered, they should be given more. So these are the facts and coming from the survey at all India level. So again, its importance in food security is quite high, and it is essential to at least take care of the calorie intake of these households. Now coming to the agricultural value chain or rice value chain, we all know that the definition of value chains, the sequence of steps and participants involved in the process from production to delivery of a product to market is called a value chain. And there is a thin line difference between supply chain and value chain. Value chain is not identical to a supply chain. Supply chain deals with the logistics, and value chain is about linkages generating value for the consumer. It's not the supply chain basically relates with the logistics, how it will go and where it will go. But value chain entails that at each stage of the chain, there should be some creation of value. And therefore, the productivity, efficiency, and depth of the value chains are important elements driving commercial agriculture and agribusinesses. Next. So, in our country, a small scale farmers, they are the larger subset of the rural poor. If we look at the rural poor, one is that majority of the poor live in the rural area, and among those rural poor, majority of them are farmers. And they are a smaller scale producers, and they are poor farmers, and large degree of marginalization. And because of these kind of things, they lack access to natural resources, both land and inputs, technology, including irrigation, and also they face more constraints in accessing capital markets and credit. And also, in general, they have lower level of skills. These are the constraints which a generic value chain, it starts from the pre-production input supply and goes to production, then post-production, industrial processing, distribution, and marketing. And there are many enabling environment are needed, macroeconomic climate policies and regulations, facilitating institutions. Our friend Dr. Jiju was telling the many that kind of institutions. So a lot of institutions come into play to run the efficient value chain or inclusive value chain, and a lot of facilitating services are required in terms of transport, in terms of storage, processing, packaging, imports, export, and dealers, communication, etc. And incentive is that value added by every function for each participant. That is the crux of the value chain. Next, please. So who participate in the formal value chain? Because informal, everybody is part of value chain, but because some sort of value chain is always there, but formal value chain are supposed to create more value, supposed to bring more prosperity, supposed to improve the economic well-being of their stakeholders. So formal markets can reach poor producers in two ways, both voluntary or involuntary. means those it is open whether the participants or the farmers or any other stakeholders, whether they are billing or not billing. One is that voluntarily they will participate. Involuntary situation is like that, they have to participate. But the debate regarding the involuntary mechanism is mainly about exclusion, and debate about voluntary, whether it is included or not, voluntary participation. Both mechanisms, however, present producers with options to a step up to formal markets. A step up means a scale out, and or you just a step out of that kind of things. Next. And the literature which have been conducted in India and elsewhere, the evidence of excluding a small farms measured by farm size from market registering is mixed. And particularly in case of India, whatever evidences, and in case of rice, not much evidence of contract farming, but there are evidences of organic rice in Uttarakhand, there are basmati rice cultivation in Punjab, and these evidences show that these contract farming or these integration with the market models, they are more or less inclusive, and there is no kind of apparent biasness towards the smallholders, towards the marginal holders. They are part of the chain, and substantial evidence of non-land assets determining the, it's not only the criteria or a scale, but non-land assets like knowledge, like other kind of skills. There are evidences which determine the participation of a small scale farmers in restructured channels. And another is that better infrastructure facilities, better road, marketing infrastructure, that have facilitated participation of farmers in modern marketing channels. Next, please. Another question is why we should participate in the formal value chain, why any farmers or why any producers should participate. So whether that poor households can benefit from formal markets, and they basically can benefit from three ways. One is that through product markets, as producers, they will produce and they have a market, they have a market assured markets. Another model that through labor markets as wage laborers, that you contract out your resources and then you just participate as a wage laborers. And third is through service market as providers of services to the chain. Most of the available literature focuses on rural poor as producers. As Dr. Chandrasekhar was mentioning, the proposed, this new, not proposed, but past act says that it is a contract for crop cultivation, it is a contract for production, it's not contract for land. So here they have the opportunity to participate as producers, not they are surrendering their land resources. So and with a limited number of studies on the potential of labor markets linked to value chains and the role of providers of services, but majority of them that they have the potential, they have the opportunity to participate in these kind of formal value chains as a producers, and they can derive benefits. Next. And what was the impact? Whatever little experiences we have, what was the impact? There is clearly evidence of that income security and stability, because when you are participating formally with some sort of your successive chains, this means you are transferring your risk also. You have some, so income security, and there is certain element of stability. And there are always chances, because your economies of scale are increasing, you are becoming part of the bigger chains. There is a chances of higher returns, improved productivity because of better access to technology, because of better access to markets, and also improved quality and access to different kind of services, access whether it is extension or credit. And as I mentioned, reduction in vulnerability and risk, and also food security and social premium. And as a result, there is a improved organizational capacity also. Next. One of the thing I would like to highlight here, it's very good to integrate with farmers, integrate with markets, very good. But first of all, infrastructure we need to create. Just look at the scenario. 50% of the districts, they are having less than one market or one market per million of cultivators, sorry, by mistake, cultivars, per million of cultivators. And 28% of districts in India, they have only one or two. So market density is so low. So first of all, our focus should be to increase the infrastructure, increase the market density, increase the other kind of infrastructure. Then only comes that more acceleration of integration, whether it comes from private sector or it should come from public sector. That's the second question. But in most of the cases, first of all, our emphasis should be to increase the market density. You look only for markets per million of cultivators in only 9% of districts. So most of the districts are a start of the marketing infrastructure in the country. Next, please. Another thing, just I am highlighting that age of the market. Why it is, this means our focus somehow we have lost our focus in creating marketing infrastructure. So only in 5% of the district, age of the market is less than 10 years. Means of late, we have not been able to give adequate focus on the on investment in the creating marketing infrastructure in the country, though it is very means all researchers have shown the rate of returns to, apart from agricultural R&D, the rate of returns to agricultural markets road are quite high. Next. Here I have tried to show that some sort of correlation or kind of collaboration between the total market and the rice yield, because this is the topic for rice, and there is correspondence wherever the market density high, apart from agroecological and other kind of factors, there is a correspondence between rice yield and market density. So investment in markets is, I think, very crucial. First, increase the market, and depending on the status of market development, we kind of have a strategy that some of the area can be exclusively, means public sector should focus, because where there is a low development of markets, private sector is not going to invest in the infrastructure kind of things. Where the market has already developed, there we can leave it to the private sector. They can take care, because incremental investment will be less and return will be high. So maybe we can delineate the all kind of clustering, and then we can define the role, and some of the medium kind of things, even public-private partnership can be helpful to increase the infrastructure of markets. Next, please. So what are the barriers? What are the constraints for the smallholder farmers to access agricultural value chains, or in case of this rice value chain? There are several constraints, and these are related to resource constraint, land, soil fertility, water access, education, working capital. Then technological constraints, land and labor productivity, technical efficiency, storage capacity, know-how, subsistence needs. Suppose still many farms, they are growing for their own needs, and they may not want to go for commercial, and therefore, and also of farm income. Financial constraints, credit, cash flow deficits, product constraints, whether that those products are in terms of volume, whether they have enough marketable surplus or not, variable product quality, seasonality, staple crop cultivation needs, and locational constraint, geography, weather, culture, tradition. So these are different types of constraints which with suitable intervention can be addressed to increase a smallholders' participation to the formal value chains. Next, please. So I am here giving, apart from that, for in case of rice, increased focus to Eastern India, and also as Dr. Suresh Pal was mentioning that even within Eastern India we can have different environments where can be. But here I am just giving that from value chain perspective, what is those kind of things. We need more investment in upgrading to meet production and processing requirements, and also adaptation of trading relationships and supply chain structure to ensure a smallholder participants do that, and product proposition and buying practices of the lead farm, and investment in broader sustainable livelihood strategy, because rice cultivation many times come under fire for sustainability issues and other kind of, so we need that kind of more water conservation, more technologies in the rice production, so which have less adverse impact of the natural resources, less water intensive, less those kind of things. So we need to invest in breeding, we need to invest in conservation technology more, so the and ultimately that how livelihood strategy of the stakeholders can evolve. With this, thank you very much, and thanks again for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts.
So thank you very much, Dr. Anjani Kumar, for a very nice presentation as always, and bringing other perspective which was not discussed in other presentations. The different social sectors contributing to the rice production, and also how PDS is supporting different, you can say, social groups. So a different perspective has been brought to the whole presentation, and I hope that this presentation also gives that where our strategy has to focus and how we have to sustain our rice production in the country, and bringing value chain, the market systems, the investment which is required, and also the focus on technologies which are sustainable in nature. That is what Dr. Anjani Kumar wanted to educate us, and I am thankful for that. So now we have finished the presentations by the key speaker and also the lead speakers. Now we have got some time, and I will request those who are attending this very important session, and they can ask their queries and observations, and they can also indicate from whom they want to get the clarification. So if that comes, we'll be taking about 15 minutes time to receive those observations and questions, and then responses from our experts. So with this, I will request from the those who are here attending the program.
Sir, this is Kumar. I'll ask.
Yes, please.
Sir,
Yes, please.
actually, my question is either to Dr. Paul or Dr. Chandrasekhar, sir. Actually, can we go from minimum support price to maximum support price, something like that in present farm bill?
So Dr. Suresh Pal is here.
Dr. Saab, I am listening.
बता दीजिए साहब मैक्सिमम
1 to 1.
अभी तो मिनिमम नहीं दे पा रहे हैं, मैक्सिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस बता दिया.
You have very well answered this question, sir.
नहीं आप बताइए, हमने तो ऐसे ही बताया.
Certainly there is a problem in the minimum support price, so there cannot be maximum support price, and we have to really look at the price policy now. We have to relook the whole price policy in the present context, how we can what kind of price policy will be required, because the scale of production is very high, 116 million tons or so, latest number, and certainly having that kind of a short price, it will require a lot of thinking, a lot of other institutional arrangement to provide this kind of price. So I'll say only this much. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Sekharji, if you want to say something.
Yeah, actually, there are many ifs and buts. Therefore, I don't want to get into speculation, but I will just quote what had happened previously with Coffee Board. So Coffee Board, when we got independence, they enacted an act called Indian Coffee Act 1947. As per the act, whoever the grower, coffee grower, they have to pool all their coffee only to Coffee Board. They cannot sell anywhere else. And Coffee Board will fix minimum price, our MSP type, and depending on the market benefits, they also give the bonus. That was the practice till 1991. There was a lot of hue and cry by the coffee growers. They told overhead cost of Coffee Board is very high and we are not getting a good price. and we have to be competitiveness. You just help the farmers, we will explore the market. You go for promotion, you give us publicity for our produce, we will market our produce. So 1991, this it was liberated actually. Now the marketing is in the hands of the coffee growers. Afterwards, we have not heard anybody blaming coffee board, but they are continue to get better prices compared to what they were getting previously. This is only a living story which can guide actually to us. If the market players are more, alternative marketing channels are created for the benefit of the farmers. On the other side, when we work through farmers producers company, not individual farmers who are vulnerable for exploitation, we are bound to get advantage, and this is what we can learn from the coffee board case.
Thank you, sir. Great example.
Thank you very much for the clarification. So any other? So questions are not coming, participants.
Sir, actually time is also up, so I think it is okay, sir.
Time is up, or it is indicated 1 o'clock?
12 o'clock, sir. We have another session now at 12.
12 o'clock, okay. So should we conclude now?
Nowadays, you don't require room, so all these parallel sessions can continue.
Yeah, our session is independent, I think.
All sessions, they are independent, they can continue.
The program which has been given to us,
yes,
is written 10 to 13. So already up to 1 it is written.
So unless somebody...
Sir, actually, if you go
somewhere,
actually we are supposed to end by 11:50. I mean by 12 o'clock or so. Tea break at 11:50 to 12.
One submission is there, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. What could be the strategies to promote the non-basmati scented rice which are grown in different parts of Eastern India?
Promotion for what? Export?
No, non-basmati scented rice.
Okay.
Grown predominantly in Eastern India.
Absolutely, yes, very important.
So who will give the answer? Non-basmati scented rice like Kala Namak and others.
Katarni is there in Bihar, and some also is there in
Katarni. Madhya Pradesh also have got very fine rice.
Sir, actually, we do have potential for export. As of course, there is no issue of marketing within the country, but for export, we have for basically for medium and small aromatic rice. Because we cannot compete with, if we are having a long cylinder, we cannot compete with basmati. That is the problem. And as
I think there is no need to compete with basmati. There is no need to compete with basmati. If some products are niche products, and if there is a demand, it can be exported, it can be marketed like scented only, not as a basmati. The problem comes when we want to promote these type of rice which are not by a standard basmati, then problem comes. Otherwise, for any products, if we specify simple level branding and creation of demands, more publicity, more campaigns, then there should not be a problem. If we like Johar rice of Assam or Katarni chawal from India, I think more aggressive firms should come up and they can just
that's right.
Market it.
So answer we have got. Yes, please.
Can I answer? Say these are specific products. They have, I mean, a particular group of consumers. They are popular in certain areas, maybe local and outside also. So first is what are the marketing arrangement existing now? They can cater to these, let's say, consumers. But if you want to expand the market further, naturally you have to link with the formal supply chains. You want to bring it to, let's say, metros in Delhi, others. So you have to link with the former supply chain and create market for them. And gradually, naturally, if there is some merit in that in terms of taste or in terms of quality or in terms of aroma, consumers, they will be accepting and they will be market created. But these link to be linked with the formal supply chain, then only it will be possible. And many products they have in fact spread that way only now.
Yeah.
So that supply chain kind of issues, they become very, very important.
Yes, excellent. So
Sir,
any other point very
a small
quickly?
perspective, sir, a small perspective. Just I've been observing here in the US, there is a branding, very good branding of the Thai rice, the Chinese rice, and the American rice, but I don't see something like Indian rice except the basmati. As what Dr. Anjani Kumar said, it would be a very good strategy to say that something called Indian rice, although there is a lot of the Sona Masuri brand comes here
Yeah.
to cater to the Indian diaspora settled here in the North American continent. But yet we don't see the aggressive nature of marketing that we see it with the small countries like Vietnam, Thailand, and others who do a very aggressive of their rice marketing. Like what Dr. Anjani said, it would be wonderful to say that it's no just scented rice, or there is so much of other kind of rice, the Navara rice of Kerala, the black rice of the Northeast, and the brown rice of the Northeast, and also of Kerala. So there is plenty of takers here. Only thing is that what we see lacking is an aggressive marketing strategy, because there is no one entity that is actually driving this whole marketing strategy for rice. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, aggregation and aggregation of these products is a major issue, particularly with this small
Yes.
scale, non-bus centered rice kind of things. There is a probability of having online transactions. You can think of online transactions, which is going to take much currency. I think if you can think of those, there are a few players who are into that business right now.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think time is going more than the estimation. And now I will request Dr. Srinath Dixit to say few words, and then I will say a few words, and then we'll close now, because we cannot.
Thank you, sir. I'll take very little time, sir, because there's not much to really add. It was all erudite members making excellent presentations, and it was really a pleasure to listen to them. Just to quote, how important rice is, like, Annam Brahmam Raso Vishnu, Pakto Deva Maheshwara, Evam Jnatpatuyo Bhukte, Annadosho Nalipyate. What it says is that, like it's, I mean, the people of the subcontinent and particularly the Asians, it's like this Anna is like Brahma, and the rasa is added by Vishnu, and when Maheshwara is able to cook it with the fire, and if we eat it with awareness, I mean, there is so much of what we call as food security. There is so much of shanti in everybody's stomach. So that's such a wonderful crop this is, and there is no one's food is complete without having a few spoonsful of rice. So that, and accordingly the importance given to rice is very, very well justified. And also we are very huge in terms of the biodiversity of the rice. I think there has to be some kind of an effort, concerted effort that must go on. Although this is being seen in some pockets, probably it is worth studying and also trying to promote, as Dr. Jiju was mentioning, that the current novelty in marketing can give some fillip to this kind of efforts. So as we see the rice cultivation in India, I read somewhere that there are certain varieties in Tamil Nadu, particularly grown in some temple lands, which can be harvested on every day of the 365 days. Because there the deity is supposed to be served with the rice harvested on the same day. So that's the kind of diversity that we have. Now, having fairly addressed the productivity, I won't say that we have all solved the productivity problems, but now I think we also have to simultaneously give attention to our conservation efforts in rice, which is going to be a very, very big thing in the backdrop of the climate change, whether it is inundation tolerant rice, or whether it is drought tolerant rice, whether it is having certain resistance to the new emerging pest and disease problems that we are facing. So there is a lot of attention needed for that also. I would not really like to go on dealing with individual presentations that were made, and every presentation was very apt to the topic. I will leave it to you, sir, as the chair, to offer your wisdom to the presenters. Thank you very much for this opportunity, sir.
So thank you very much, Dr. Dikshit, for your remarks and very valued one. I also need not to make a long, you can say, concluding remarks, but certainly I will say that what we intended to discuss in this session, it has been very well presented by all, starting from Dr. Suresh Pal, who made collaborative presentation on various issues of policy, how the government of India has to move ahead and how the interventions have to be taken up, not only in terms of the policy towards marketing, but also towards the research system in terms of having a kind of research programs in our country, the kind of research manpower which is required. So very well said by Dr. Suresh Pal. One thing he mentioned about new technologies, and he mentioned that SRI is one option. Probably this has to be again looked into because we don't have much evidence from the research institutions of ICR. It has come up from the field, from the southern states and getting ground somewhere, but I think it has not gone long back. It was in the southern states, went little bit low, then unaccepted, then again now it is being discussed a lot about SRI. So we have to create some evidence on SRI and then we have to promote this technology. Looking into the present day requirement of labor and others and the status now. So this is what I want to mention about his presentation. And then we had a good presentation from Dr. Chandrasekhar, who talked about different reforms and marketable surplus which is coming and what we can do of that. Probably that and the altogether different perspective which we have been lacking in extension. Basically production centric, not much focus on the markets. And the whole thinking, once we talk about the markets, probably the DFI aims are also covered. So whole thinking has to change, and that is what message he has given to us, that our whole efforts, right from planning to implementation and thereafter, has to focus on market and pricing factor. Because on production front, we have been sufficiently well done and need not to dwell much on that, but at the same time, the new technologies which are, you can say, resource efficient, that is very much required all the time and will continue to work as a research organization. Now, coming to Dr. Alex, he has made a wonderful case of his own state that what new interventions have been taken up. Some of them, which I find institutional innovations, which he has mentioned, if he provides a detailed of those, which he was mentioning about the group farming, even a trained manpower for doing mechanization and other services in agriculture sector. So those models can be further pushed to other states. I will request him to give the papers to me also in person because I can pursue from headquarters. And also those who are attending this program and also the organizers. And I find very important one when he is talking about the group farming, how it has been actually a profitable venture, group farming there. And also the procurement price which they are offering, that is also quite huge, almost 27, 28 rupees per kg. So that is again fascinating thing to hear from him. Coming again to Dr. Anjani Kumar, he made a lot of mention about the value chains and a different perspective, the social perspective, which we have been talking about. And he also differentiated in the supply chains and value chains for our understanding. And I hope that we'll be going in that perspective. There is an agenda before us also that how we can create incubation kind of centers and also the value chain kinds of facilities in our own KVK network and how it can rope into. So ICR is doing with some or zonal technology management units, but those numbers are quite less. Even agriculture universities, ICR institutions, and Krishi Vigyan Kendras at large, can they be converted as a value chain centers also to facilitate value chain so that youth could be incubated for a longer time and they could have their own value chain systems created around the ecosystem. Other perspective of rice, which was talked in the whole session, the sustainability aspect, the ecosystem services, and already Kerala, I was mentioning some royalty being paid to the farmer, rupees 2,000. Dr. Suresh Par has been highlighting quite often in the ICR meetings that the ecosystem services have to be paid to the farmers. And if this starts happening, probably people will go for certain products. And also if they are going for a product, they will go in a certain way, which will help them to fetch those kind of royalty or ecosystem value services, which we are, most of the time we are discussing. And rice, a way of farming also, how it can have the ecosystem services to be provided to the farmers. In the state of Kerala, the situations are different. In the state of, you can say, Eastern India, also a lot of water. But these central parts where rice is being grown, situations are altogether different. May not be very suitable for rice, but still, you can say the highest productivity levels we are able to get in these areas. So we have to think into that, can we grow rice in different way in these areas? Probably technological options are required and also the field orientation. I personally visited many times to the basmati growers. And when I asked that how many irrigation you are giving in the state of Haryana, he said that I never switch off my tube because it's a free kind of electricity. So can we give value to the rice which we are producing? The kind of water and the amount of water we are using. Wherever water is there, it is all right. But where water is not there, probably we have to see that how rice can be other way, you can say, grown by having less water utilization by rice. So this is what I will say in the end. Grateful to all of you who joined today, particularly the speakers, and Dr. Dikshit, the co-chair, and all the very distinguished colleagues, friends who spoke today. And those who are here, especially Dr. Padaria and Dr. Kumar, they have been facilitating us. There are many more questions which could be raised. Time is less. And I find that these areas are very, very important. Market density, again, Dr. Anjani Kumar talked about, and he exhibited the relations between market density and the production, what we are able to get. So all these are the, you can say, guidelines for us, that how the whole, you can say, the promotional activity, the equity system, and also the profitability aspects have to be addressed. And with these words, I am thankful to all of you. Hope Dr. Padaria will bring out the proceedings along with Dr. Kumar. So thank you very much, all of you, for joining this program. Thank you so much.
Sir, we are really grateful to have this wonderful session. It was full of information and knowledge with analytics as well as policy punctuations. We are really grateful to all of you. I now request Dr. G.A.K. Kumar to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Respected chairman and co-chair, and all the speaker, my colleague Dr. Padaria. First of all, I would start with congratulating our chairman, sir, for the being first NAS fellow. After the founder NAS fellow, I think, sir, you are the first in a regular manner. And sir, you have really shown us a path and shown us some kind of confidence that, okay, we can also become NAS fellow. And that's a big congratulations, sir, from the whole fraternity.
No, we are NAS fellow. We are not NAS fellow. We are not at fault. That is why you are taking like this.
Sir, 30 years. This is 30 years of NAS.
No, what I am telling Dr. Kumar,
sir,
you are not a NAS fellow. It is not your fault.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, thank you so much for such a nice session. You have conducted so smoothly, and we have come out with really wonderful, recommendations. And you yourself have given so much of insights to this, sir. We'll certainly bring out the proceedings in which all this will reflect. And I also thank our co-chair, sir, Dr. Dikshit, for sparing his time and being part of it. And also very, very nice points have been given by him. Sir, we had very distinguished panel of speakers, and I'm really thankful to all of them, Dr. Suresh Pal, sir, Dr. Chandrasekhar, sir, Dr. Jiju Alex, Dr. Anjani Kumar, and as you have already told, it was excellent presentation by one and all, and it has certainly added to the knowledge of us, and certainly the students who are there part of this program must have understood many finer things from this. And I also at the end thank my rapporteurs, Viswajit Mandal and Dr. Rathod, and also the participants who have participated in this. And sir, thank you so much, sir, for making this program successful. This session was really, really highlight of the IRC. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all of you.
Sir, there is request, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I will make the announcement, no problem.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
I would request all of you to stay back because we have an oral presentation starting immediately, which will be chaired by Dr. S.K. Srivastava, sir, and Dr. P. Samal. So those who are interested can please stay back.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you.